Welcome back to the Runpreneur vlog, and today we're going to be talking about income bucketing for your business. So the Runpreneur vlog is part of the Runpreneur Challenge, which is our mission to save the lives of children by raising £1 million for 6 amazing children's charities, which between them cover the whole spectrum of issues affecting children on a global scale. Now we're going to raise this money by committing to run vlogging on consecutive days the distance of 1 lap around the world. It is a 12-year challenge of consecutive daily running, a minimum of 5 kilometres every single day whilst vlogging, and I do it barefoot style. It's 40,075 kilometres, just shy of 25,000 miles. So it's a huge challenge. If you want to find out how you can support the challenge or get involved, please check out the links in my bios or go to the website challenge.runpreneur.co, and let's get started. So, what is income bucketing first and foremost? Well, it should be relatively self-explanatory in that income comes into your business and you split it into separate buckets depending on its use. Okay, so the principle behind it is budgeting, so that you don't get caught out by costs or unforeseen situations because you've budgeted for them. And the reason I'm talking about this today is that probably a few months ago now, I did a vlog episode on income bucketing for how I, bucket my levels of income. Okay, so when my income comes in, I have a number of buckets that I use. I have my fixed costs bucket, which I don't spend anything on that account. It's just where my monthly fixed costs come out of. I have a variable essentials bucket, so that's for like groceries and clothes for the kids, that side of things. So essential spending basically, but it's variable. I have variable non-essential, which is the fun account. So basically takeaways, social drinks, days out, that side of things. I have an account for that. I have a holiday account, so I put money away every single month to ensure that I can afford to do the holidays I want to do each year, which is really important to me. I also have an investment account as well. So anything that's above and beyond everything that I've earned that current month, I have an investment fund. And the last one is big purchases. So that's for like home improvements or self-insurance, if you like. So if something goes wrong in the house, you need to fix it. Usually it can be quite costly. I have a separate account for that. So I've talked about that. That's my setup. So every time I get money each month from my various businesses in the form of however we're structured, I also have a holdings company where a lot of money comes through, which acts as a consultancy for my group of companies. So we have some tax efficiency processes going through there. But the principle is that money comes in every month and it moves into certain pots so that it's spent accordingly. Now, the benefit of that is, a perfect example is my variable non-essentials, which is the fun account ultimately. It's got a budget towards it. So it's not I can do pretty much what we want to do each month, but we don't go over a budget that we've given ourselves. Okay, and that's me, my wife and my family. Really important, because in most people's circumstances, where the money goes into one account and they get sucked into doing more fun, entertainment related stuff over the course of the month, that's possibly taken away from your holidays, or even more importantly, from your investment fund. Okay, you should always be putting your money away as investments. So I talked about this and the value of doing it, but you also do it in each of your businesses as well, although you use separate buckets for the business. Okay, and that's what today's episode is about. So I based this on a book called Profit First, which was by Mike Michalowicz, and his concept around this whole setup was that, profit first, expenses after. So traditional accounting is sales or income minus outgoings or expenses equals profit. Now he's saying that sales minus profit should equal expenses. Okay, and the idea behind that is that it's Parkinsons Law. So the more you earn, generally the more you'll spend, which means your profit will always be squeezed. If you do the calculation the way I've just explained, sales minus profit equals overheads, it means your overheads are always being squeezed or contained. So you're limiting their ability to grow. So ultimately, you're increasing your profit. And there's 5 main accounts you have set up within your business, okay, to do this. And you apportion income every month in a percentage perspective. So you have your operating expenses account. So this is the account that covers the total overhead for your business. So all of your standing orders, direct debits, all of your variable expenditure will come out of this account. Okay, so you need to know what that's going to be, and you also need to know what percentage of your revenue that's going to be. So obviously the lower the better, but when you factor in wage bill and all sorts of things, most companies will be looking at somewhere between maybe 30 and 40% will fall into this, or their income will fall into this bucket. But that covers all the outgoings and expenditure for the business on a monthly basis. You then have an income account. Okay, that's where all the income comes into. And the reason you have a separate account for that is that if it all went into your operating expenses, Parkinsons Law would apply. The more money that rides in it, the more you'll spend. So having that kind of budgeted in that regard helps control that situation. So you have all your income goes into your income account. You then have an owner's pay account. So the idea behind that is that you take a percentage of your income every single month or every couple of weeks, and it goes into the owner's pay section. Okay, so that's really, really important. You have a profit account. So you want to have retained profit. It might be that you focus on 5% of your income goes into retained profit, so that your assets within the business are growing, your liquidity is growing. Then you have a profit side. You might reinvest it into the business, you might pay out as a bonus, but it's a profit account, okay? And probably the most important one, which so many people don't have, is a tax account. Okay, so tax, whatever the percentage of tax you're going to be paying out over the course of the year, you can factor in VAT tax. You can also factor in personal tax if you choose for the directors or the owners of the company. So the idea is, again, every single 2 weeks or monthly, that money is apportioned for your tax. And if you get this right, then over the course of time, when you're working with a finance director or an accountant or somebody who's going to scrutinise your accounts, you can etch your percentage allocations up in certain areas. So you can etch the profit one up, you can etch the owner's pay, you can etch, all of these kind of things. So you're squeezing overhead, you can reduce overhead, because ultimately you've got 100% to play with of the income. But when you take out tax, which you can't really reduce, tax efficiency might help, but generally speaking you have a tax liability that has to be factored in. But you can squeeze your overhead. So the idea is any percentage point you reduce on your operating expenses account means that there's an extra percent that can go into owner's pay profit, for example, which is huge. Okay, so it's just understanding how this works, and if you're scrutinising, you should make the transfers from your income account then, because all the money's coming in from income. Every 2 weeks you should be moving the money into the set accounts, or having standing orders set up to do that, so that it can be as automated as possible. And by doing this, you're controlling your expenditure and hopefully enhancing your profit. So I do this for each company. Obviously the owner's pay one, or the profit pot, is what will ultimately come out to me, i.e. as a consultancy fee, as a salary, or as a dividend. But that comes into me, and then that falls into my personal income buckets, which I've just explained to you. The other thing you can do as well with this mechanism is it allows you to budget for growth. So for example, if you need to take on more staff and you're not convinced you can afford it, you can set up another bucket where you put that employee's wage into, or whoever that prospective employee is going to be, their wage into that bucket. And then you can show that you can afford it and you can keep trading. When you're comfortable, you then bring that person in. So it's a great way of measuring that you can afford to grow or afford to invest in certain things without having a detrimental effect on the business. So that's really, really important to kind of understand that. So I've explained what income bucketing is, I've explained how it works, I've explained how I use it in my businesses and my personal life and the benefits of it. So why should you do this? Well, I feel that there's so many people in this world that, the most successful people in this world all seem to do this. They all manage their money effectively. They make their money work hard for them, so they're putting money away into investments. They're controlling their overhead and enhancing their growth. That's how people grow and how their success can be measured. So success leaves clues, and I'm not saying that I'm the most successful guy out there, but I'm pretty good with this type of stuff, and it enables me to have a far more fulfilled life without having to be multi-millionaire or anything like that. And just some simple principles in your life can make a huge difference to you and your family. So hope that's useful. As always, this Runpreneur vlog is part of the Runpreneur Challenge, which is our mission to save the lives of children by raising £1 million for 6 amazing children's charities, which between them cover the whole spectrum of issues affecting children on a global scale, so they genuinely save lives. We're going to raise this money by run vlogging on consecutive days the distance of 1 lap around the world. It's a 12-year challenge of consecutive daily running, at least 5 kilometres every day. I have to vlog, I do it barefoot style as well. I do at least 5k every day as well. Usually it's a lot more, but huge challenge. So you want to find out how to support the challenge, go to the links in my bios or to the website challenge.runpreneur.co. There's no .co.uk or .com, it's just .co. And Runpreneur is spelled RUNPRENEUR. So that's challenge.runpreneur.co. And thank you for your support. Stay positive, stay happy. I'll see you tomorrow.